Welcome to another Talks with Liem Lee. This is available to the billions of people around the world on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, CastBox, Pandora, and all those other platforms.
Audible?
It is available on Audible.
All right.
And it's also available in 4K on YouTube. I'm your host. I'm Liem. I'm a software engineer. I bring the perspective of. You're
a podcaster who brings the perspective.
Cut.
No, it's funnier when we leave them in.
I bring the perspective of being a software engineer for nearly 2 decades, and today my sidekick is
Emmett Morgan. I'm a Las Vegas realtor. I have a degree in accounting, and I am overdue for a haircut. I did find time to shave my neck beard before coming in today to the podcast. I'm excited and only slightly nervous. We have connected with a Russian agent who is currently abroad in Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City, depending on which map you're looking at. Yeah, we've got an undercover brother. Actually, he seems like a really nice dude named Boris, which is probably why we should be worried because he's very charming. Boris, what is your story? What are you doing in Saigon, and why are you a Russian that speaks such good English? What's going on here?
Yeah. Well, firstly, thanks, guys, for having me on your podcast. I'm really excited to be here with you. And yeah, I'm a Russian guy. I'm a filmmaker in Saigon, Vietnam, currently. I'm making movies. I play music. I travel the world. I have a lot of stories to tell. And I'm just a cool guy, I guess.
You are a cool guy.
Yeah. And then people could find you on Facebook. That's your primary means of contact?
Yes. If anybody is interested in my doings, please just search me on Facebook. And everything that's related, you can find there. My website for the movie, my sci-fi series, the music that I do, the photography that I do, and all the stuff.
And spell out your Facebook ID.
Type in search BORIS MESHKOV, Boris Meshkov.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Or you can go to my friends list and check Boris
just
on
type
Emmett's
B
friends.
and I will appear in there.
And then I'll recommend you so that you'll have street cred.
Awesome. So we spent 3 hours talking about your passion for directing film.
Yeah.
We talk about your time in Russia, where we talked about the 1 year that you spent in the military there, you being in detention for cannabis in Hong Kong.
No, Shenzhen.
In
no,
Shenzhen.
Hong Kong.
In Shenzhen,
Oh,
China.
okay.
It's not Hong Kong, it's China.
And then spending time in Vietnam. We actually didn't even get time to talk about your travels in Europe, so maybe we'll do part 2 someday.
Yeah.
What else did we talk about?
Boris is getting in trouble everywhere. We talk about the future, how lame cryptocurrency is going to be in the future looking back. How many boobies will sci-fi women have in sci-fi movies of the future?
Oh man, you should highlight that moment.
Stay tuned for the boobies, people. Stay tuned.
Yes. Thumbnail it. Talking about the futuristic boobies with a Russian guy in Saigon.
All right, audience, stay tuned for that. The real cut. All right, Boris, thank you for for coming to this show, man. So right now you're in Vietnam. You are in Saigon, which I hear the news there. It's terrible with the pandemic. It's the huge spike in cases and the whole lockdown. You guys are in lockdown still for another week or so?
Yeah, well, thank you guys for having me on your podcast. I'm really excited to be here. So let's just jump straight into the action.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Well, I bet the whole world, like every single person experienced the lockdown stuff on themselves personally. But what happens in Saigon, Vietnam is something special because this lockdown lasts for 3 months already, like more than 3 months.
Wow.
And before that, people were staying at home for more time because of lack of jobs and stuff like that. So Summarizing, I guess the whole 2021 is kind of a lockdown. But if you talk about like strict measures from the government, it started like May 31st, and in June there was a chance of going outside, but since July 1st, the first days of July, it was like a kind of curfew regime, and there's no way you can go into the supermarket. So the government decided to send the military, and the soldiers were just using their carts and bicycles and bikes to deliver some food to the people. The news are terrible. The people are depressed and they are tired, but actually during this lockdown, it's a game changer. It's the transformation, and I feel like Saigon and people who experience that, they're turning into something more powerful.
Wow. Okay, so we're in September 21 right now, September of 2021. So getting to talk to you is a unique experience for us, because we'll see little kind of news headlines, but, not specifically about Vietnam. We just hear whatever the news, puts up, whatever you happen to catch here and there. So I think hearing your detailed story of what's happening in Saigon, even just these couple minutes right here, is really eye-opening. Americans take it so for granted here. We have all the access to all the vaccine we want, and still, half of us are walking around like idiots and ending up in the hospital. So it's a strange, they have no idea how bad it could be.
Oh, yes. So there is no 100% right way of avoiding the virus right now. It's not the vaccine. Well, I'm not going to talk about should you take vaccine or not. I personally took it because there basically was no other choice. I got this paper from the local ward officer that says that, hey, we're giving the vaccines and you're welcome to take it. So I just went and took it. So I want to help to prevent this kind of stuff, lower the chance of spreading the virus in here. So if they just offer to take the vaccine, I should just say yes. I want to contribute and to support, of course.
Is that available to everyone there, or how is it? A few people, or most people, or how does that end up being in Saigon?
Well, not the whole Vietnam is like that strict as Ho Chi Minh City. Saigon is like the hotspot right now. And most of the people, they already had the first jab. So just most of the population of Ho Chi Minh City is waiting for the second shot right now. And in terms of availability, yes, it's available to everyone. Doesn't matter if you're poor or rich, if you're a foreigner or Vietnamese. Well, I had to wait like 3 hours to get my vaccine because I'm a foreigner, but still I got it. And like the officials, they treat foreigners almost the same as the local people. There is also the certain level of support from locals. There is like a youth group of supporters that rides around the city and helps foreigners who found themselves in a difficult situation.
So I've subscribed to a Reddit thread called I think it's Vietnam is awesome. But anyways, people on there, it's locals and foreigners. So I'm Vietnamese, so I subscribe to that because I just want to kind of keep on the pulse of it. But anyways,
because you're racist.
Yeah. So some people have written on there, and just tell me if it's true what you've seen or if it's false. They said that the government sent in troops and military with food, but then it was supposed to be like all that food was supposed to go to the poor. But some of the people are posting that only like 10% of that food went to the poor. For whatever reason, money and the food somehow just, I don't know if the military ate it. They didn't explain what. They were just saying corruption with the military caused the food not to go out to the poor in Vietnam. Have you read any news on that? And also, I'll just say this too. I know Vietnam, there's things you probably don't want to say about the government, so be cognizant of that. And we could cut things out too of this video, but I mean, you could say the whole thing, and then we'll choose what to delete later.
Yeah, it's okay. You can keep it. I say what I say, and I'm not afraid of it.
What do you know that we don't know?
So actually, I'm overstaying my visa for more than 1 year, so I have nothing to lose.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I've heard stories like that, that the food actually is not getting delivered to the people it's supposed to be delivered to. But I'm not sure about the truth, like is it truth or not, about 100% proof of that information. Personally, I didn't have any troops coming in here. I'm lucky to be in a like distant area from the hotspots, and I'm lucky to live with wonderful Vietnamese people who support me, help me with food. But as far as I know, the military, they are just here to help and support and take like more strict measures in terms of delivery. Yeah, more like some people, they're keen to panic and spread like the news in a bad light, in the worst light than they actually are. But as far as I see from the news that I see, not the reality, but the news, that the food is getting delivered. It's not much. It's just like a bag of rice and half of a cucumber and some fish sauce. But as I see the reports, it's happening constantly, like on a daily, hourly basis. Yeah. And I cannot say like 100% sure if the government does that perfectly or not, but I see that they do it. There's some certain level of scamming going on right now. That's what I can tell. There's some certain level of corruption going on, again, from the news. And I take it as a natural thing. I bet there is a bunch of assholes that would prefer to earn some money on this kind of hard living situation, you know. Yeah. And they get what they get, man. They get caught and they get punished the way it should be done.
Something I also heard, when I don't know how true it is too, is that there's the Chinese vaccine that I forget the name of it, but then there's obviously the ones from I think America, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson and Johnson, which some of those reached Vietnam. And then I've been hearing through the grapevine, because my wife still has family living there, and she contacts them like 2-3 times a week, if not more. And we hear that they're saying the Chinese vaccine is causing quite a bit of deaths. Have you heard of that in the news there? Or, and actually, which vaccine did you take? Sorry.
Yeah, I got the Sinopharm. I got the Chinese vaccine because I didn't have any choice. When people hear it, they like, "Boo, you're a dead man," or something. Yeah. I don't know, man. If I have a chance to take the vaccine, I would take the vaccine. Yeah.
Sorry, I
see this.
I want to interject one more thing. I think I saw statistics where they were saying something like where Johnson, Moderna, where they're like in the 80-90 percentile for efficacy.
Efficiency, yeah.
Effectiveness.
But then the Chinese one was down to about 60%. So the only thing, even if it's lower, like you're saying, I think I agree with you. If it's lower, then then get it, if that's your only choice. Now the deaths ones, nobody told me how the numbers, and you know, with misinformation or people freaking out, it could be like 1 out of 1 million, and yet people are freaking out. So anyways, I just, if you want to touch up on
that's a fair point. I will share my personal experience. So my roommate got an AstraZeneca shot, and I got myself a Sinopharm shot. And the next night, after taking the vaccine, I was feeling just like mild fever, and I handled this after vaccine time pretty well. But my friend with AstraZeneca, he had like a terrible night after getting the shot. So I assume Sinopharm or Chinese vaccine is not causing death. I doubt that. It's just not that strong as the other vaccines. You know, it's the dosage of this virus sample that contains inside. So Maybe Chinese vaccine felt more like water, watery, and AstraZeneca is like strict. Yeah,
Yeah, actually,
AstraZeneca or Moderna is just strict punch in the face, you know.
yeah. Actually, Emmett got Pfizer and I got Moderna, and I feel like I got hit heavier than Emmett did. Like I know him and his girlfriend. They got a little bit tired from what I remember.
Yeah,
right?
I got a little bit tired on the first one. Second one, I didn't feel anything. So
The second one, I got chills. I got chills at first, like 12 hours in, and then 16 hours later, I got it was super hot, and then about 20 hour or 4 hours after that 16, so 20 hours in, it got super cold again, and then it was kind of done after that.
or I might be in really great shape.
Or lucky.
I feel like a better person after taking the vaccine.
So far we know Boris is not dead.
Yeah, this is not a pre-recorded video. It's actually me right here. Actually, this whole vaccine thing feels like this Pokemon obsession in high school. You know, I'm having this. I'm having Pikachu. I'm having. In reality, I think it doesn't matter which kind of vaccine do you have. It's vaccine. Like imagine yourself like 3 years forward in the future, or 5 years in forward. Will you be remembering which kind of vaccine did you take at that time? You will just remember that you took a jab, and basically hopefully you avoided to getting the virus itself.
Boris, where did you go to school at? What country were you in school?
Russia. I was in Russia.
Oh, so Russians are playing Pokemon? Is that real?
We had that. Yes, we had this. We're on the same page, man.
I had no idea.
Have this notebook with Pokemon stickers, and we had like this caps with Pokemon. Oh man, they were broadcasting on TV, and it was like, whew. I was glued to the screen.
How did you find positivity if you were surrounded by kind of negative people? What do you think sparked you to be different?
That's a good question. Maybe it's a mix of the people who were around me in my childhood, my mom, my dad, my grandparents on the both sides, my relatives and my whole family tree, my whole mafia, and all the people that I met. Maybe they crafted the person into who I am, and just one day I realized, I opened my eyes and I realized that this place, my hometown, this country is definitely not for me. And I should mention that when I was 10, we had a family trip to Europe, to Germany, to Czech Republic and Slovenia. And I should say that every person should go outside. Every person who lives in their country, they should go abroad at least once to compare their living to the living of others. So that trip to Europe was an eye-opener for me. I see how people can live much better than in Russia in those days. So when I came back, definitely it was a complete like eye-opener for me. And after that, maybe I start thinking that I don't belong here. That's not really my kind of game.
You would be surprised. Most Americans don't leave the U.S. We have the most access and the most money and the most ability to travel internationally of anybody in the world, and so few Americans take advantage of that. You know, to go anywhere. If they go somewhere, they end up on a cruise ship or going to a resort in Mexico and not really seeing another country. They see, here's the buffet, and they don't see how the people live or experience another culture or another country in a real meaningful way. So it's frustrating to see so many millions of Americans don't take the advantage of that. Instead, they're chasing, a bigger TV and a newer car and these kind of materialistic
I can understand that. Because I think United States is like top of infrastructure and development country. You have internet access, you have a 9-to-5 job, you have your earnings. Imagine going from the Indian village in the middle of somewhere and traveling from this village to to London or to Paris, you definitely see the contrast.
Yeah.
But if you were born in Los Angeles or New York, in which place you can go to be impressed, to compare like another life and feel pity for your own home place. I guess that can happen if you go to some countries and you will be focused not only on infrastructure or economics or the way the streets look like or stuff like that, but the quality of the people. I agree with you. Maybe some Americans, they should consider coming to some other countries, and I would recommend coming to Asia, to Saigon, Vietnam, because Vietnamese people are the nicest people in the world.
Couple things that I want to talk about is your film directing, but also one of the things that really caught my attention on your questionnaire was you said you went in jail in China for cannabis. What's the story behind
that? Pot smoking hippie.
What's your story?
Oh, that's a cool story. Probably the coolest story I ever had.
Start at the beginning. What were you doing in China?
So I spent 3 beautiful, wonderful years in China.
3 years. Wow.
Yeah, that was a great experience
in
for
jail.
me. And just in the end of 2019, I was just regularly smoking pot, almost on a daily basis, wake and bake lifestyle. So for 3 years, it was totally fine. It was totally okay. Like buying weed and smoking weed, it was fine. But in the end of 2019, it was some kind of the wiping hand of Chinese party that swooshed all the foreigners, most of the foreigners at that time. So it was kind of a raid wave of the police guys, and their goal was basically to kick as much foreigners out as possible. So I was in that line. They were doing is raiding the random bar at random time and just pushing and making all the foreigners to make a piece test for THC. If it's detected, boom, 2 weeks of detention and 5 years of ban. That's what I got.
Wow.
It wasn't a jail. It was detention. It wasn't prison. I cannot say that. It wasn't that tough.
Yeah.
There was so that night I was sleeping at my apartment, and approximately at 1:30 a.m. my girlfriend, my Chinese girlfriend, she wakes me up like, Boris, they came for you. They are saying your name.
Yeah.
And imagine hearing that at 1:30 a.m.
Yeah.
So I opened the door and there's like 12 or 15 people standing at my door.
Wow.
Most of them are having like the uniform.
Yeah.
Some of them are recording with the cameras and stuff like that. And they just politely say that one guy says in English that we have information that you were possessing drugs and please just follow us. So I said, okay, I got dressed. I got my phone, my documents, and I followed to the car. It was already nice and smooth in the car. They were asking me some questions. One guy, probably the experienced detective, he tried to push me like, hey, if we find drugs in your house, we will punish your girlfriend and stuff like that. But there was a younger guy who tried to calm him down.
You just want to punish your girlfriend.
Fortunately, they didn't. I feel so much pity for bringing that much trouble for my girlfriend at that time. So I just spent one day on the police station. It was kind of fun when they brought me into the cell, into the room. I saw my friends, my American friends.
Hey guys.
Yeah, what's up, guys? First time.
Wow.
And we spent 24 hours just cuffed to this iron thing, just sleeping on this concrete bench. It was not really nice. And my girlfriend was just a suspect, but they cuffed her also. She was Chinese. But luckily they let her go, and that was a lucky call.
Yeah.
After the 1 day, 24 hours of investigations, they just sent me to this detention center for 2 weeks. Where I found my another friend in there, and we had some really cool time in there.
Hey, it's Jerry. What's up?
Yeah. Hey Jerry. Hey Boris. Yeah. His name was Josh. He's a cool guy. And
what up, Josh?
It was like 30 people in the cell. 20 people were Pakistani guys, poor guys who tried to cross the border with Hong Kong, and they got caught like in a really stupid, ridiculous way.
Wait, the Pakistanis were trying to get into Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's annual tradition, I don't know, from Pakistan is to cross the border from Hong Kong and get caught and sent to detention.
Weird.
And there was the Nepalese guy. There was a Vietnamese guy who was really cool. He taught me some Vietnamese words, and probably he was the reason for me to choose Vietnam after that.
Oh.
And it was, as I say, it wasn't prison. It wasn't jail. There was no violence. There was no pressure. The officers, the Chinese officers. Not really.
Okay. It's like an international party.
Yeah. I learned a lot of cool things. There was one Pakistani guy who could speak English. He was really nice.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot of cool things from them. That was kind of a ritual experience. There was no phone. There was nothing to do. Your worst enemy was boredom. There was the TV and sometimes they turn it on to show the ridiculously stupid Chinese TV shows with those love dramas. Oh my god, man! It was just fun to watch how stupid it is.
Just to calm you down.
Yeah, exactly. The food was all right. It was monotonous, but it was all right. The officers, they were pretty ignorant. They didn't care much about our problems. I got in 2 weeks. I just got one 5-minute phone call to anybody in this world to get a ticket, flight ticket from China to Russia. And of course, that was my girlfriend. And I remember myself sitting on this wired phone and saying, buy the ticket to Moscow. Yes, to Moscow from Hong Kong. And boom, 5 minutes over. I didn't have a chance even to talk. So it was just like that.
Yeah. Damn.
And after 2 weeks, I got released. I called my dad. I really wanted to go straight forward to Vietnam. I had a strong feeling that and desire to go to Vietnam. I had no regrets of leaving China. I felt like this is the perfect time and the perfect spot to leave China.
Yeah.
There were various reasons for that, but I feel like it's a really good sign. So after I was released,
that's a good reason to leave.
Yeah.
And you get in trouble with the law.
I got a phone call with my dad. My dad just convinced me to come back home for a couple of weeks. I haven't seen my family for 2 years at that point. So that was a New Year miracle. It was like December 26th when I was released, and I came back home by the New Year Eve, and I reunited with my family. It was a wonderful time. Yeah. And after 2 weeks of being with my family, I just bought myself a ticket to Vietnam, and I'm here 1.5 years.
2 weeks was enough with the family.
Yes. I love my family, but yes, after 2 weeks, it was a clear vision for me that I have to go. So, and you call it luck or virtue, I don't know. But when I arrived to Vietnam, January 15th, boom, this was the time the virus kicked in. The virus stepped into the game. And since then, I'm kind of stuck in here, but it's cool that the government extends the visa since then monthly, so I don't have to pay for it. I hope there will be no consequences for this. There's definitely risks for my visa situation right now, but I hope it will all be solvable.
So if we rewind a little bit, Hong Kong is a different place than mainland China. Historically,
Oh yes, oh yes,
Hong
oh
Kong
yes.
used to be kind of a free trade zone that got reintegrated to China in 1999, and it's been struggling and protesting. What?
Yeah, in 97 it was like they make a step towards the Chinese authorities and control, from the British one.
Right. So what were you doing in Hong Kong for those 3 years? Were you filmmaking, or what was your goal to be there?
I was just visiting Hong Kong on a monthly basis, and Hong Kong is a completely different land from China, like completely different land.
Yeah.
I know China like wants it back really bad, and Chinese party has all the power and all the money to control it.
Yeah.
But Cantonese and Hong Kong people, they're completely different vibe, and I consider Hong Kong as. I know many Chinese people will be pissed off of hearing that, but this is true. They have a border. They have a different language. They have a completely different mentality. They have different currency. Hong Kong has the Chinese roots, but it's a completely different face. And you see those protests, as you mentioned, that proves that Hong Kong is a completely different land. And they should be independent. That's my point, and they should keep on fighting. Yeah, hands up for Hong Kong.
Yeah, from your perspectives, like for us in the news, we see some of the protests and stuff. Is it when your time there, was it worse, or was the news actually portraying it less or more? What, in your perspective, what do you think?
When I was there in 2019, I tried to reduce my trips to Hong Kong, although I managed to go there a couple of times. But I think in 2019, it was the peak. It was the peak of fighting. And I was living in Shenzhen. So it's like the cross-border city, like next to the border city.
Yeah.
And while I was living in Shenzhen and like earning my living and making my stuff, running my business in Shenzhen, I went to Hong Kong pretty often to feel the touch of civilization, because in Hong Kong they have free internet, they have good food, edible food. They have almost all the people, they speak English, and this felt like a civilized Western world, to be honest.
They had good weed.
Oh, yes. There's an island in Hong Kong, and there's a guy who sells top-notch weed. I cannot share the contact, guys.
No, don't tell us his name.
Yeah, but Hong Kong, they are still strict on drug policy, but in Hong Kong, it was much more free than in Shenzhen, of course.
Yeah.
So what I want to say, that Hong Kong is completely different from China, and China tries to put their hands on. There is certainly some reasons for that, because Hong Kong is a moneymaker. It's a crazy moneymaker. Like, imagine how much finances go through this pot. And China wants.
It's a big financial capital, and then there's also a shipping port there. Is that correct?
Oh yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shenzhen has a shipping port as well. But it's kind of just the physical one, It's just ships are coming and going. But in Hong Kong, there are offices. There is basically just these financial centers and stations with this nonstop calculating and paperwork, and it's all happening. The machine is happening in Hong Kong.
The money machine.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
There's if you remember, in the 80s, it was like a golden age of Hong Kong cinema with John Woo, with early Bruce Lee, and even Chang Long, Jackie Chan stuff. It was all happening in Hong Kong. The culture was blooming in the 80s when it was under the British control. But after 1997. When the China stepped in, the things just seems to be getting worse and worse.
Well, I mean, the
Yeah,
more
and
you try to make Hong Kong like mainland China, the more you erase its individual strengths and unique characteristics, right? Yeah.
yeah. And that's kind of sad.
Yeah. So, so you went to Vietnam and almost immediately got locked down because you happened to arrive right before COVID. Have you been able? I mean, there's times when you weren't locked down. Were you able to experience Saigon at all, or Ho Chi Minh City, we should say?
I got my time in Saigon City to explore and soak in it, like pretty much to boil in the Saigon vibe. Yeah, I was lucky to catch it throughout the 2020. Last year it was just a 2-week lockdown, and last year was pretty smooth in terms of virus in Vietnam. There was by the end of the year it was like roughly 300 cases totally.
Yeah.
Because the country was closed for all the tourists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I consider 2020 maybe one of my best years so far, man. I had so much cool experience in Saigon with so many cool people.
Wow.
I did my first serious steps into filmmaking. I managed to direct my first music video with Kung 7. And I'm not sure if you know about him, guys, but he's like the teenage idol of 2010s.
Really?
And yeah, he's like Vietnamese. Justin
Is your video on
Timberlake.
YouTube? Can we see it on YouTube?
Yeah.
I actually,
of course.
I watched it.
Was it good?
It was good quality. Like as a podcaster, like I've actually spent a decent amount of time even doing videography, like B-roll and dealing with lighting, dealing with focus, so much stuff. And I was able to pick out the stuff that you're doing, and I felt like there was a lot of things that I could see that there's a lot of effort and the eye for artistic views in video. So I felt I saw that.
You have the eye.
Oh yeah, I'm lucky to have the eye. I appreciate your review, and that music video was probably the biggest project I ever worked on and the biggest effort I was putting into something, and I cannot be more happy about this, man.
Wow.
The results are astonishing. I feel like more than a human after accomplishing this goal. Being just 1 year in Vietnam during the COVID times, the guy with no money, with no connections, just comes here and makes a kick-ass music video.
Nice.
I suppose it's a kick-ass.
You can say that.
Yeah.
Back it up. Yeah.
There's only 3 of us here. No one's gonna argue.
No, we'll put a link in the video, and then people can give us all thumbs up.
Yeah, but so far, I received just positive reviews from people, and I feel blessed about this. I worked really hard day and night on making this video, pre-production, production, and post-production. Kung 7, we were working shoulder to shoulder all together, non-sleepless night, like really putting a lot of time into it. And the result is astonishing, I should say. Yeah, I'm glad that I made it. But after all, yeah, this is all cool. But still my first goal, number one mission in here in Vietnam is to make my movie. And it's still going, and it's still not done. And I hope I'm staying here and going through all this lockdown stuff for a reason. And I hope I can make it.
Was the company that you're doing in Hong Kong, is there a connection from that to your movie stuff now and that music video?
Oh, I wasn't. I didn't have any business with Hong Kong guys. I was just going to Hong Kong. And Shenzhen. To be honest, in Shenzhen, I was teaching English for 2 years. So that was my time to feel the money, to feel like having the money for the first time in my life.
Nice.
And I was just doing what I like. I was playing a lot of music. I'm a drummer and guitarist. I started bands, I was playing gigs, and I was having a lot of fun, and smoking pot, of course. And
for the music.
Yes, just for the music. This is the combination, man. Pot and music, boom.
Oh, I've actually never I've never smoked and actually played guitar. I don't think I should try that sometime.
Man, you're missing out. You're missing out so much.
You'd be so much better.
This is where the magic happens.
Would you suggest sativa or indica while playing guitar?
Sativa.
A sativa.
Okay. You will just notice, if you play guitar, you will notice that your fingers playing the melody themselves, and you don't have to put any effort in it.
Awesome.
And it makes double the fun if you're jamming with someone else.
That was going to be my connection. That was going to be my next question. So for me, it's been 20 years since I played in a band, but when I did, I still there's nothing in my life that has that feeling. There's a magical feeling when you connect with me as a guitarist, connecting with a drummer, a bassist, and a singer, and another guitarist. There's a magical feeling. And I've talked to other musicians. It was actually pretty interesting. He said this other musician played in a band, but he came from like orchestra playing, and he said he didn't get that same feeling conducting for an orchestra or being part of an orchestra. It was when he jumped playing to a band, he felt that feeling.
Like music sex.
Yeah. Actually, the quote that I took out of that podcast, he said it's the most fun you could have with your clothes on.
Yeah. Well, I could see an orchestra being very scripted, right? You have the exact notes.
Yeah.
That you're in detail what you're supposed to play.
Yeah.
That's right.
So with sativa and guitar, and then did it even enhance? So sativa, guitar, and a band member or guitar and drummer, so it enhances it even more?
Whatever. It just has to be at least two player game, you know? If you have more, that's better. But as you said, the orchestra is scripted, so they basically follow the paper. Yeah. But the magic of having two guys is some kind of a conversation, you know? Music is a language that you're talking to another person, and there's like the response that you get from another person. This is what makes it fun. You play a chord, and there is a drum roll that follows it, and then there is another chord, and this is kind of ping pong game, and that makes it fun.
And then if you take jamming, your shirt off, and
throw it off stage.
This is why the Red Hot Chili Peppers end up naked,
wearing their socks.
Yes,
on their dick. Oh man, legendary moment. So yes, if you want to reach like the next level of music and this melody conversation, it should be like a two-player game, and it doesn't matter if he's a drummer, if it's two guitars or two drums, or a singer and a guitar. If it's a jam, non-scripted jam going straight from your heart, that's the best, man. This is the juice.
That's awesome.
So how did you get so good at English? Because we're putting your story together backwards here.
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying my English is very good, comrade.
No, I mean, we have no trouble conversing with you about a variety of topics. There hasn't been a single word I've said that you didn't know exactly what I meant. So it's obviously you're really you're great at it. So
thanks. I'm glad to hear that. I spent 1 year in Los Angeles. I was working as a furniture mover, and I used to have this. And I was the only guy who was speaking English in the crew. And I was talking to the customers on a daily basis. So I just got fluent in it. Before that, I was learning English on daily in my special English school. And my mom was a strict English teacher. That's probably where I got my vocabulary.
Yeah.
But the funny thing, after 9 years learning English at school, when I came to States in New York, I couldn't understand a single word of what those guys were saying, and I couldn't say anything, man.
Hey, you fucking you.
But after a year of Los Angeles, United States experience, and 3 years in China, I was mostly speaking English with foreigners. From all over the world, that possibly what crafted my English level right now.
So my hopefully my story is not too long. So my time in Vietnam, when I was there, and you got there in January, I left in October. So I was there 4 months prior to you, 3-4 months.
Oh, you just missed him.
Wow,
Yeah.
we could catch each other.
Yeah,
we could. Okay.
But I spent 6 months twice in Vietnam. Once in 2018, once in once in
Years ago.
2010, and then I've been there like two other times. Anyways, on the last, actually every trip, the English that's spoken in Vietnam, the Vietnamese, I don't know if it's the economy, the government, but I tell my wife the English in Vietnam is English in Vietnam. Like they almost can't come to America and use it because there's so many things that they get taught incorrectly. So what I'm getting at is, was your English in Russia, would you say it's superior what you learned there than maybe what you've heard there in Vietnam, how they're learning it? Or was it because you went to Los Angeles and that really affected that? Or what do you think was it?
Yeah, I think you're right. Like learning English at school is completely different thing than using English on a daily basis. So while I feel myself fluent in English just because I was having the conversations most of the time for the past several years.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm forgetting Russian a little bit. It's getting harder for me. But the secret...
A quick suggestion on that. When I went to Vietnam, I went through 6 months where I think for 4 months, I spoke no words of English. And that really affected my English when I came back to the States. My personal opinion, it almost took about 2 to 3 years to just recover back to the fluency that I was before. So just a suggestion, you should try to maybe call home and talk Russian and study Vietnamese and English. If you're studying Vietnamese and English right now, also call back home every once in a while just to refresh your Russian.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, don't forget the roots. Yeah, my dad doesn't speak English, so I have to keep the way of communicating with him.
Yeah.
What I notice, Vietnamese people, I'm glad to see that most of the young people, especially in Saigon, they're having no problems of speaking English. But most of them, they are so unconfident of using this English language. I think maybe because of some of the cocky foreigners, especially British or like American guys, who are saying like, "Hey, you said this sentence wrong." They're like, "Hey, that's not correct." So this is a really bad behavior and bad thing. Now Vietnamese people feel less confident. Every conversation starts with the phrase like, "Sorry, I'm not that good in English."
Yeah.
And even the person is actually good in English, he still says that. And I just try to remind to all the people, and including Vietnamese people, that the purpose of English of language is to be understood. So if you're making a minor mistake, it's also fine. There are rules of English, of American English, of British English, of Australian, Aussie, mate English. But there is no universal rule for English, and you shouldn't be sorry about that. If the person understands you, even if you do a minor mistake, it works perfectly. The language does its purpose if the person who you talk to understands you.
Yeah, I agree.
I totally agree with you.
That's true. Yep.
For fun, do you want to speak some Vietnamese? Me and you.
Tôi hốc tiếng Việt.
Trời ơi.
Việt Nam cầu lên. Ăn cơm chưa?
And come just, did you eat yet?
Yeah.
Translation is
I love it, man.
eat rice yet, but because rice is so common, rice is gum is like it's just used for
It's
dish
synonymous with food.
Yeah.
If you don't have rice, you
rice
ain't got
is
food.
common.
Yeah.
Like com com tam. No, the rice.
Gum tam.
Yeah. That's why it's so common. You know.
you're making puns in multiple languages here.
Yeah.
Here, I'll ask you something in
So
Vietnamese.
I'm making my steps.
I'll ask you something in Vietnamese for fun. Anh thích cái món gì ở Việt Nam nhiều nhất?
Oh no, man! It's a too hard level.
You went too far.
Sorry. But
I'm level 12 on Duolingo right now. So.
I asked, what was your favorite dish in Vietnam? What's your favorite food in Vietnam?
Oh man, I
Rice.
think it's bonnet.
Oh, dude!
No way.
Yes, I fucking love that dish,
It's
man.
amazing, man. It's just wonderful.
And I think it was 2010 when I went there. My cousin just he was taking like every day he would just take me to a new place, and he's like, "Yeah, have you tried this?" He said bonnet. I think it's bonnet. But he had me try it, and I'm like, holy crap, what is this? So it's a sizzling, sizzling. I think I took you to bonnet
you
before.
sold it like it was the greatest thing on earth. It's gonna change my life.
It's the dish of gods, man.
Do you remember if you enjoyed it?
Yeah, it was good. It was tasty.
It's just like a sizzling dish for I guess audio listeners. Or well, we don't have a picture in front. Well, I'll put a picture on YouTube, but for audio listeners, it's a sizzling plate, like that big cast iron type of thing, and then there's usually like what would be like a carne asada type meat.
Yeah.
And then you got your fried egg on top, and then you may get a piece of pate with a piece of cheese, and then you pour soy sauce on that, and then there should be it's cooked in with butter and garlic, maybe on that dish, and then
Some onion, garlic, yeah.
Yeah, then you're supposed to take your bread and dip it in that sauce and eat it with the meat, the cheese, the egg, and it's just freaking delicious.
Wow. It's the breakfast I would like to have till the ends of my days, man. It's so perfect.
By chance, would you say have you found bonnet places that like did you like 1 out of 5 places, or did you like 5 out of 5 places? Because for me, it was kind of like 1 out of 10 I really liked, oddly. I don't know if I have a specific taste.
Yeah, you have to be picky in Saigon in terms of all the dishes, all the food, like bumbo or bonnet or even pho. You have to know the good spots because I really like it about Vietnam. There is a personal approach to like every place they cook food. So yes, I find myself a local food with a local bonnet spot, and she's just a nice lady. She knows me, and she knows the way I like it, man.
So for
That's
me,
fantastic.
so for me, my cousin that showed me that 10 years ago. So 2 years ago when I was in Vietnam, I asked him, "Hey, can you take me to that same exact place?" And he didn't remember which one it was. So I couldn't find it. I just went around.
Remember, man. I will remember for ages. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, maybe we should.
So bonnet, yeah, it's the top. It's the top for me.
Wait,
For me
but
right
why
now.
don't we find this dish in American Vietnamese restaurants?
I've only found one restaurant here in Vegas that has it.
Yeah.
And they do a decent job on it.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, how come you're not going there every week?
It's a good point why I haven't been there in a while. But you're right though, because out of all the Vietnamese restaurants here in Vegas, there's only that one.
Yeah.
My guess is that the sizzling platter in America. We don't have too many. I feel like we don't have too many of those dishes in the restaurants. I don't know if it's the sizzling oily part.
Ingredients? No. So
No.
I think we're just not used to it. I mean,
what do you think?
yeah, you could sell it.
Yeah.
I think America's ready.
Let's open up that Boris. Come to America. We'll open up that restaurant.
Bring that lady.
Oh yeah.
she got a nifty business offer in Las Vegas.
What could go wrong?
That's awesome.
Well, to my experience, like American experience, American food is it's terrible, man. I mean,
It makes you fat.
yeah, and I think America needs another bonnet spot. That's for sure.
When you say that, you're saying maybe just the palate of Americans, or the dishes are too plain, like American dishes that like steak, hamburgers, and fries, and that's kind of I don't know if that's the world's view of America.
What exactly don't you like about American food?
Well, you said it's plain. It's kind of fine, like having burgers and pizza, and not really big variety of regular food. But I felt the quality of it. You know, there's no markets like Vietnamese or Russian markets where just local farmers they sell food in America. I mean, there are spots for selling farm food, but it's not that common, and it doesn't feel that fresh, man. I don't know. The tomatoes are square. The watermelons are all the same and round, and doesn't feel natural. And it's not really a common thing in States to like cook on a daily basis. When in Russia, it's not common to go to the restaurant to have food. It's like you have to cook at home.
Yeah.
Here in Vietnam, as I see some families, they cook at home, but it's pretty common to go and eat to the local food spot where a lady will cook for herself. This is a completely different way of consuming food, eating food, and like cooking food in here in Vietnam. But in States, I think it's all starts with the quality of the products and ingredients.
Yeah. No, we got high quantities of cheap, frozen, delicious food.
Yeah.
And when I say delicious, I mean salty. More salt and more sugar.
So American food felt like canned and this packed plastic food. That what brought me the feeling of that, and that's why I actually disliked eating on a daily basis.
Jumping to your,
I love burgers. Yeah, the fat cheesy burgers. I fucking love it. Of course.
Jumping to your, jumping to your filming stuff in Saigon. So one thing on your questionnaire that I thought was interesting. You want to do is it a sci-fi movie set in Saigon? So was it like in the year 3000, what Saigon would be like? Is that the basis of what film you want to do?
Yes, these are the sci-fi series. I hope to extend this into like a bigger stuff as a web series or like a series of some feature or short films. But yeah, I came up with some of ideas of futuristic setup of Saigon. When I arrived here and I took a ride, my first ride on the bike, and I saw this wonderful mix of neon lights in the night streets of Saigon that just struck in my head that it's cyberpunk. It's like has a really strong futuristic setup in here already without any VFX or like flying cars. It has this dope ass cyberpunk vibe in here already.
Ho Chi Minh 3000.
Ho Chi Minh, like Saigon, science fiction.
Yes, SCI.
Or Cybergon. So yeah, I just when I came here, I just wrote a script. Then I wrote another script. And then I started sharing my ideas with the people, and I got that feedback, extremely positive feedback from people. And
does the Vietnamese guy win at the end?
Always.
Okay. Good. I support this movie.
Okay, cool. Otherwise, they won't fund my movie. So I had to make it. And then, there is a strong infusion of Vietnamese culture in these films. And I was really and still excited about this, putting the Asian, Vietnamese, traditional, ancient, old school stuff and mix it with the futuristic, technological, sci-fi, cyber things together. And that mix is basically blended into Saigon 3000. There is like several stories that are connected together with the same timeline, with the same location, but with different characters and different stories, different circumstances. But that all connected in the same lore, in the same universe. The backstory is pretty twisted. If you're interested, I can share it, but it's pretty long and in depth. But
this is what you're currently working on.
Currently, this project is frozen for obvious reasons.
Right.
But I'm still. This is not, as I said, this is my number one reason here in Vietnam, and that's why I'm staying here to make it happen.
Yeah.
So good things take a lot of time, and I'm here for 1.5 years. I've done pretty much good success and good milestone running towards this goal, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to happen in the future. For now,
Nice.
it's on hold. It's still frozen. It's waiting for the better time to come back.
Is there small things you could do now during the situation of COVID, like little milestones you can do in preparation for that?
I can do a podcast and talk about it.
Perfect.
He's sewing costumes and making props.
No, man, I had a lot of time writing like on a daily basis about this, building this lore, like understanding the characters and understanding the world that they live in. It was so much fun going in depth, and like this was the first experience when I get so deep into my own creation. Sativa, if you ask me. That
blew my own mind.
Yeah, that was my tool as a writer, as an artist, to get in depth into my own idea and thought. And where I got was pretty exciting and pretty like thrilling to me. Those characters that I created, and the people's ideas, my friends' ideas, they contributed and put on the table along with mine. The result is pretty cool, man. Like what we build right now, what is written on a piece of paper, what is saved on my hard drive is like really nice, good, well-consistent concept for a movie. Like it's crafted to be a movie, and it deserves to be alive. It deserves to be filmed one day. I just guess it's waiting for its time.
What things are you experiencing in Vietnam that you're kind of putting in that, like into that movie? Are you seeing certain things as you just live your day life in Vietnam, encounter people, encounter culture, and you're slowly putting that into the story? Is that part of it?
Mopeds everywhere.
For now, I just put it on the top shelf, because as an artist, I can say there is a certain wave of inspiration that you should ride. Personally, I cannot do it constantly all the time, like putting some small steps and some small pieces of information into my script. No, it should be like a week or a month of like blind passion of putting the ideas on the piece of paper, and like your fingers are just writing in it. And once it stops, it's just slipping, and you shouldn't wake it up. Once you wake it up, it should be another wave of inspiration. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have a backup? We don't want all this inspiration to be lost on your hard drive.
Well, it's all in my head.
Okay.
One guy asked me, like, do I afraid of sharing it on the podcast or with other people? So must be a Hollywood producer who will steal your idea or stuff like that. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that there is no other person who knows more about this project and who knows how to make this work besides me. Like, I'm the guy who did the research. I'm the guy who felt this. I'm the guy who just built this all by myself. This is my child, and I'm not afraid of losing like my hard drive. It's gonna suck, of course. There's a lot of a lot of effort in there for sure, but the idea is still here. The juice and the message and the story itself, what I want to say, what I want to deliver to the audience, to the people, it's still there, and I hope it will never go out of my head.
I would suggest maybe putting on Google Drive, so at least if you lost your laptop, you could log into Google Drive from like another computer.
Google
I have the backup.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the backup of like the pitch Bible. On my hard drive, I have like the whole process, all our meetings, all the sketches, all in there. But the pitch Bible, the juice, like the compressed juice, is on my Google Drive in a PDF file, like compressed pitch Bible. If the producer wants to take like a closer look to what I want to make, so there's a document for it that like highlights all the main points. So dear hackers, if you want to, if you really want it, I just don't mind. Please hack my Google Drive account and take a look.
The hacker should go ransom some Bitcoin and then send you money to make the movie with.
Oh, I'm poor as fuck, man. So
No,
there's no
they
point
should
for
send you
hackers to
money.
waste
Yeah.
their time.
They should
Yeah.
send you money to support
okay.
the movie. Yeah.
Okay. Doors open. Yeah.
So I was browsing your website on it, and one of the things on the website that caught my attention was that I think eventually you'll look for investors or funders to help the project go forward. Because I mean, I'm guessing to film a movie you need I don't know, $200,000, $500,000, whatever the amount is.
Costs money to make a movie.
Where, like, I know you said it's on pause, but what once COVID once we normalize life again, would that be the next biggest goal for you? What are you gonna focus on right when COVID normalizes?
Yeah, I will try to get back to this one. So the budget, it's number one problem. It's basically once I get the money, it's all set up. The script is ready. There are people who know about me and my project who are ready to contribute. The crew is ready. The studios and equipment, it's all set up. So once I get the certain number of dollars, it's ready to go. So now my number one goal is to finding those money.
Yeah.
There's different ways of getting the budget for my film. So I'll try to approach all of them, or whatever it will be possible, whatever my option will be.
Gigolo.
Yeah. So the best way is to the best way is just to find some kind of company or investor or a rich guy or any person or like company that has a ridiculous amount of money and like this kind of budget, $100,000. It's not a thing, and they're really interested in contributing. That happened to me last year. One company, they offered a certain amount of money to film one episode, The Runner, but they wanted to change the script and infuse their ideas that actually doesn't sound well with the whole thing. It's like those guys are stepping in and they saying, "Hey, let's put strawberry jam on that pizza," and like, thank you for like the money were good, but I cannot change the whole thing just because of this random idea from nowhere.
So you didn't sell out?
No, of course.
Oh,
no.
He's a true artist.
Thanks, but yeah, what would you choose if you sell the idea that you're really passionate about, that you worked so hard on, and it will be just ruined by the small detail, but you will have a chance to make it, but it's going to be shit because of that detail, or you just refuse it and wait for the better time to make it really good the way you intended it. So
wait, did they literally want you to put strawberry jam on pizza, or is that a metaphor?
Yeah, it's a metaphor. They wanted to change the character's name when the character's name was basically the movie name and the main seed of the story of the film. And when they asked me to change it, it basically would destroy the whole shit.
So if I give you enough money to make the movie, but I want the main character to be me, then that doesn't work.
Well, as a director, I will drain your energy with endless rehearsals and practices, and I will craft a good actor. And
I just meant the name. Just Emmett's a great name.
Well, besides money, you will have to give something more than just money to make it good. Yeah.
So let's dive in a little bit into seeing what makes Boris, maybe going back in time, and then also any connections on your passion on film from that. So one thing that I read in your bio, I think that people might be interested is you did a year in the Russian military. That's a common thing that everyone has to do there.
Oh, so is every Russian required to serve in the military for a year? Is that?
Yeah, it's mandatory, but for the past 20 years, I think it's easy, actually avoidable.
Yeah.
If you study in university, or you can just pay it off if you have like a friend of friend, an uncle of a friend of who knows if you have some connections, you can avoid it, like no problem. But in my case, and there were some reasons for me to go to the army, and I just did it 1 year when I turned 18. I just went there.
What's that experience like? Is it like an 18-year-old? You're like, fuck, I don't want to go running and training.
Yeah, man. I think that was the toughest. No doubt that was the toughest experience in my life. 1 year in the Russian army.
Really?
Good. Yeah, and actually that worked maybe pretty fine, because after that year, I don't feel that anything can really scare me or bother me, or nothing really seems tough to me.
Everything seems like vacation after a year in the army.
Yeah, just a kid. Life is a kindergarten, after a year in Russian military.
Yeah. So what makes it tough? Are they forcing you to do a lot of physical exercises, or is it just miserable conditions, or what makes it difficult to be? Because we kind of have an idea what the U.S. military is like, but we have no idea what Russian army looks like to an 18-year-old.
Well, yeah, for me, 18 years old boy, I was just a boy, a teenager, basically. And from me, that drop from being just a college guy who studies film and hanging out with the girls, and to the strict fucking holding the AK-47, waking up at 6 a.m. and running through the snow and shooting stuff. That was a certain drop, of course. And I was scared as fuck, man. I went, my draw was to go into this specific division in the middle of Russia. And it was really strict in terms of following the rules. You have to wake up at 6 a.m. You have to do everything on the schedule. So there was a certain amount of control. Other divisions, they were pretty loose and pretty in terms of serving the military service. But in my case, it was tough, and it was tough mentally. It was tough physically. Yeah. And probably the worst thing for me, the mental thing, is I was surrounded by the people that weren't really a match for me. Okay, I don't want to be really cocky saying like that I'm super smart or super intelligent, but at least I had some middle school and entry college education in my division. And I was surrounded basically by the village guys who were,
Yeah, they had access to less education.
Yes. And basically they were the majority of Russian soldiers, mandatory Russian soldiers, because they had no choice.
No connections.
Going anywhere. No connections, no power of avoiding, and their families, they live in the village. They don't have much money, so basically, most of the Russian army is just the village guys, and I was surrounded by those village guys. So they were really cocky. They were really, I don't know. I couldn't find the same vibe with them. Yeah. I was facing bullying from time to time and stuff like that. It was not really nice. But with time, I kind of got with it, and I learned how to stand my point, and I learned how to fight back. Yeah. I don't say that this kind of skill was useful for me in the future of life, but it brought me some kind of the feel of security for myself, that I can stand for myself. I can find back.
It's good character development.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I just telling to myself, this is maybe one of those profits I got from that year. Yeah. Instead of just wasting the year of my youth that I could spend smoking weed and but yeah.
Yeah, but the food was really good,
maybe
right?
Character development.
The food is excellent there, right?
Yeah, excellent.
What would a typical meal be?
What was really cool that typical meal. So before talking about the food, I want to tell that the workflow that we had. So I was serving on the zone security, basically like 8 hours a day. I was walking on my AK, just securing thing and just going back to the to my base. And there was a division serve. So one day of this base security and one day of division. So the division food was terrible because there were hundreds of people like going to this huge canteen and the food
cafeteria.
was cooked for hundreds. Cafeteria. So the food was cooked for hundreds of people in this huge, pot. And the quality of it, you can imagine. But in the base, when I was serving the security stuff, it was almost cooked personally by our company chef, and he was a friend of ours, and he was putting a little bit more sugar in the tea, and that was pretty cool.
Nice.
So you see that was kind of 50-50 stuff. Good thing that happened, it was like a scheduled food, consuming 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 5 p.m. and like 8 p.m. every day throughout the year. You're eating at the very same time, and that kind of works pretty good for your organism, for your body. Later in the military service, you start eating less when you get used to this kind of schedule, and you're feeling all right with that. There you can find some ways of getting good food, like the undercover black market meatloaf.
Some underground meatloaf. I like it.
When you grow into this military career ladder, later in the service, you can afford yourself some really nice munchies and treats and stuff like that. But when you're just the level 1, man, it's just rice with water and like a chunk of overdated bread and stuff like that. It's terrible in the beginning, but later it was all right.
Okay.
I'm thinking my next question, the answer could be no, but go ahead. I'm just gonna go ahead and answer however you want. We could delete it if it's not interesting. Are you able to reflect back now at that 1 year in the military? Was there
torture,
like what you were tasked to guard or
what were you guarding?
What were you guarding, and can you reflect back and think of it as was it something useful, or just any thoughts now that's different from what you thought then?
That's a good question, and maybe for the question the KGB will come for me. But I will share what I know. They didn't tell us what it was securing, but from my perspective, what I saw, it was kind of like a lab, the nuclear lab or some physics lab. People were crossing the checkpoint every morning, and it was like a huge area. And basically, I was serving in the town that was closed for any regular Russian citizen. So you had to have the pass to live in this town and to get inside. And this town was mostly of the scientists and the people who worked for this lab or some kind of stuff like that. They didn't tell us what was that. And, like, we had no information. We were just give the mission of securing this, and that's it. There were rumors that this is an underground lab with a nuclear bomb. If somebody will invade Russia, this bomb will explode and destroy the whole planet, stuff like that. But it's just rumors.
It's where Wolverine from X-Men was protected, right? Where he was created.
That's a pretty close reference.
Boris's job was to keep the Pakistanis out. They come in groups of 20. They try to break in.
After 1 year of securing this stuff, the only invader was a hedgehog.
Wait, did you shoot a hedgehog?
No,
With an AK-47?
I just kindly asked him to go away. There is nothing to
Show
see
your
here,
papers.
man.
Show your papers.
Your hedgehog papers.
A fun question for Emmett: did you ever get to shoot a shoulder shoulder rocket powered
A shoulder launched explosive projectile?
Yeah.
Like any kind of bazooka or missile.
Unfortunately, no, I didn't have a chance to. But I threw grenades, and I was shooting AK-47 monthly. Like, we were going on the shooting range.
Yeah.
And when I was upgraded to the Lance Corporal, they gave me the RPK. It's like the AK-47 machine gun. So it's like a bigger version with the 2 legs on it with a bigger magazine.
Okay.
Or how do they call it? Yeah.
Bigger
Clip, yeah. And it was heavy, man. Like, carrying that stuff on the parade and waking up every morning and cleaning that shit was pretty tough. But yeah, I was using it on the monthly basis on the shooting range. It's cool to have as an experience, but it's much more fun in video games, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's weird because in the U.S., you wouldn't, like, if you're getting promoted, you wouldn't get the heavier gun. You'd get more power and more specialized tasks and duties. But if you're a heavy gunner, that's kind of a separate path of, like, you're the big guy that's going to carry the heavy gun. That's your job. So it's interesting that it came with your promotion.
I was. It just was a random pick, but I was in a sniper duo. So my company was out of like 100 people, and there was like this special team of 2 of us of the sniper duo. So basically, that was a private sniper who was like having this sniper rifle. And I was kind of the sergeant with this RPK who was giving the commands and like scouting the territories and stuff like that. And he was just pulling the trigger, calculating and doing his sniper stuff, you know. We just went through some basic training. It was cool. It felt special, and I kind of like being in this sniper duo. That it was unique. Pretty unique, you know?
Yeah.
On the topic of guns, just sort of a side story. My wife, she was born and raised in Vietnam. I married her about 2 or 3 years.
You're not going to tell us she's a sniper, are you?
No. Oh, no.
Okay.
We were watching a movie and they were disassembling guns and whatnot. And at one point she was like, why do they keep on disassembling the guns and reassembling? This is a movie about guns. They should go do their fighting. And then at one point, right after, then she said, she was taught to do that, or she's disassembled a gun before and reassembled the gun. And then she said something like she actually had the fastest time in her school. And then I said, what? But you said you haven't shot a gun before. And she said, no. And I'm like, I've shot a gun before, but I've never disassembled or assembled a gun. But she's assembled a gun, but she's never shot it.
Why do they teach that?
I should have. That should have been the next question. So Boris, if you maybe if you could somehow ask other Vietnamese without getting into trouble, just ask him, hey, is it part of the school system for everyone to learn to disassemble and assemble a gun?
Well, also, it's good that between you and your wife, you can do both parts.
I think it came straight from the Russian tradition to do this timer assembling and reassembling AK-47, because we were doing it almost every day. I don't know what's the point of it. Like, I know, like, in the middle of the battle of the fight, if your AK gets jammed, you have to know and do this stuff. But now it turned out in some kind of the sport competition, like like the both in Russia and in Vietnam. So assembling and reassembling and like doing it really quick. It doesn't have a real purpose right now.
What's the record? Is it like 9 seconds or something?
Oh, it depends on the gun too.
Yeah, the standard AK. It's got
well, all the all the AKs models, they have like a bunch of variety of models, but most of them that have like a similar structure.
Yeah.
That what makes AK so good, because the mechanism is pretty simple. And you can, you know how it works. So personally, I don't see what's the fun of it, assembling and reassembling the gunman.
Do it faster.
What was the point? 9 seconds. Well, no, one of the officers in our division could do it in 5 seconds. It was just like blink of the eye and there and back. Yeah,
that's why he's the boss.
Yeah.
One of the things I've heard, I want to say on a documentary, was they were saying, I'm trying to remember if it was a friend that told me, because we were talking about guns, and they were saying you need to practice this stuff. That you need to know it like the back of your hand, because if an intruder comes into your house, you cannot have a second thought on like, oh, the gun jammed, what should I do? It just needs to be automatic. If your gun jams, you need to quickly figure out how to unjam it and get it ready.
So in the middle of the fight, you need to do it automatically. That's what it made for. But that is that really happened anytime? I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, even I guess attached to that is the reason why I brought up my wife is I'm thinking, so I wonder in Vietnam, so are they still training kids because from 1975, the war, is it still part of the curriculum in junior high to teach all your kids how to disassemble and assemble a gun? And like what you're saying, what good is that for kids? But it's
no, if you can send all your middle schoolers to the enemy and they can disassemble all the guns, then they won't have any guns.
Literally this morning I saw the article on the Facebook of some local newspaper about school kids assembling and reassembling the AK. They still do it, man. I see that some from time to time on the news feed.
Yeah, part of the culture now.
And part of the culture. I guess is just a game, right?
Yeah,
considered as a game, a competition.
So let's jump to your traveling in Europe. So after your year in
wait, before you go to Europe, I know what Vietnamese people like more than disassembling AKs. It's their
fish sauce.
No, there's a video game where you shoot fish.
Oh,
have you seen that? Are they still crazy about that?
What you're talking about?
Yes. There's a video game that looks like a tabletop video game, and they go nuts.
Have you actually seen how much money they're losing or spending on that? Have you seen it?
No, and but I know the game. I know what you're talking about.
So supposedly, I've seen like sometimes you'll see them with like a stash of quarters or coins, or not quarters, but coins. And they have like a hopper where they throw all the coins, and I mean it looks like freaking like 100 coins, and I think that's probably equivalent to 100,000 in Vietnamese. So that's $5 in American. Wait, no.
Would it be like a day's pay?
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a day's pay or a really good or decent meal too. So I mean they're just throwing away. So people are getting addicted to this game. They'll just put tons of coins in the hopper and they'll play this game. And I guess the game is set up where if you defeat like the bigger fish in there, you're shooting the fish, you could actually get coins back. So it's basically a gambling gaming system.
Yeah, and you fuck up some fish.
Yeah, it's crazy to me how
it's called fishing.
Yeah, it's totally unrealistic. You got koi fish swimming around with crabs and sharks, and it doesn't make any sense if you're a biologist. It doesn't. Doesn't add up.
I feel that in some Vietnamese people, they are like low key for gambling stuff.
Not even low key. Yeah.
This fishing game, either this card game. I don't know how it's called, but it's similar to blackjack. Like people used to gather together and like bet money on it.
Yeah.
I bet there's some weak spots of gambling in Vietnamese culture.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if you could print playing cards and then have pictures of fish on it, probably make a ton of money. Sell them for double price.
You'll lose twice money.
Sorry,
it's all good.
I derailed you from the other.
So jumping to the you traveling in Europe, what was a time of what gap of time was there between the year in the military and then to Europe?
It was 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
my military years were 2010, 2011, and I went hitchhiking in 2015, 2016.
Oh, so what did you do for the 3 or 4 years?
When I came back from the military, I studied 2 years in film college in Russia.
Excellent.
It was a so-so experience, but
Yeah.
after those 2 years, I went to States via the student exchange program. I worked 3 months in Idaho, Sun Valley. It was like a ski resort.
Yeah.
Then I sneaked into
Well, that's
Hollywood,
why you hate
Los
American
Angeles.
food, because they have just potatoes there.
It's Potato City.
Well, that potato was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it.
It's a high quality potato. Wait, this means Idaho is saving all the good ones and sending us their shitty potatoes.
Just the leftovers, the potato leftovers.
Yeah. These brown russet potatoes.
Yeah, outdated French fries. And I just shifted to Los Angeles after that and spent several months in LA. And after that, I came back home, finished my college, got my diploma, which is completely useless till now.
You're making music videos. You're working on a movie.
That's just because of me. I could do the same thing even without that paper. Maybe without that paper, I could manage to make it like earlier in my life. Maybe I don't know.
Where do you think the passion for it started? Like, because you're saying the college or university that you went to in Russia, like you didn't. It sounded like you didn't have the passion for filming didn't grow there. It sounded like.
The passion of filming started probably in pre-military days. When I was 14 or even 13, my friend who had like a constant access to the internet, he also was downloading some real movies. So besides watching some TV shit, he was sharing with me with some really cool stuff with some real directors. And one of the movies were the Stanley Kubrick stuff. And this is where it started, man. When I watched the Clockwork Orange, boom. This is when banged in my heart. This is when,
I'm laughing because Liem grew up with our Uncle Mark, and Uncle Mark loved Clockwork Orange. So what have you seen that movie 100 times?
Or me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, he didn't allow us to watch it. It was a little bit later in life where I was able to get a copy of it. So I actually didn't.
Oh, he didn't let you watch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen it like a dozen times because of Uncle Mark.
Well,
so explain to me your thoughts on Clockwork Orange, because for me, I kind of just think of it. It was very, I mean, as a kid, to me, it was just there's a lot of like kind of nudity, obscene things. But was there an artistic? Are you looking at it from an artistic?
Super strange.
Yeah, super strange. To me, it was super strange, but explain it to me in your perspective.
So in that case, what really blew my mind is Stanley was breaking the boundaries and using that as a tool to reach the depth of the message of the idea. So that nudity had a purpose. Those swear words and those violence and those like cringy scenes, they are the tool of reaching this depth. And when I watched this movie, I realized the power of cinema and how far can it go, how deep can it dive. So that was a really game changer and eye-opening experience for me, and that's where I got really interested in cinema.
It's kind of a tangent with you talking about the power of cinema. I sometimes wonder governments and geopolitical things, big. Backing out 10,000 feet, 10,000 miles and looking at the whole scope of everything, how powerful media is and also how powerful money is. So if the government could print money and control armies and they could affect countries, and then media, like how Hollywood is so pervasive, like in Vietnam, it was surprising to me to find like like say the latest Spider-Man movie just came out, and bam, it's there in Vietnam, like on either DVD or right on the cinema. So it Hollywood has such a massive effect that I think most people don't think about how big of an effect it is, how big of an effect globally it is. In your perspective, what do you think about when I say all that?
I totally agree with you. I wouldn't connect it with like government or any kind of stuff, but what I can say is film and cinema is the most complicated form of art, is the most difficult one, and it's probably most immersive one. So once the person spend 2 hours watching in this screen and some pictures mixed with the sound happening in there, after that the person is completely different after spending 2 hours of watching this. And this is the power of cinema. What he sees inside is something that he can relate to his life and something that can change him in the future. You know what I'm saying? The way Clockwork Orange changed me. I didn't watch it in the cinema. I watched it on my PC display. But what was inside completely changed me. There's certain power of music. There's power of paintings. There's power of art. But why I prefer film and why I choose working in film and as a film director, because this is the most. This is the biggest, the hugest form
the bazooka.
of art that you can explain. It's the bazooka, man. It's the blockbuster. So yeah, you see that you can ask any person, what's your favorite movie, and most of the people, I'm sure 95% people on this planet, and they can tell you what's their favorite movie about.
They'll say The Matrix.
That movie. That's a good choice for a favorite movie.
I think is a part 4 coming out? Is it coming out soon? Or they're working on it?
Everybody excited about this, but they shouldn't, in my personal opinion. So the point is, no matter how bad movie is or how good it is, the fact is the influence on the viewer, the influence on the audience. Even the Spider-Man on those DVDs, on those pirated copied DVDs in Vietnam, they have the influence on every single kid that watched it, and it will change the view on life itself in the future, and it definitely has a strong impact. This is the power of cinema.
I would say that inadvertently, not on purpose, the power of Hollywood affecting the world is kind of a good thing, in that the U.S. is exporting a lot of good values through these movies, right? When you watch Spider-Man, he's clearly a hero trying to help the old lady or fight the bad guy. So there's a very good bad morality that's very clear in these movies. You know, all these popular Marvel movies, you're rooting for the heroes. So it's nothing astonishingly original or mind bending, but you're glamorizing being a good person, doing the right thing, and being romantic, and the values get exported with these movies.
Yeah, subconsciously, I think I can relate it to myself also. When growing as a child, watching those good movies, it's automatically like putting some idea in your brain of what kind of things you should do and what kind of things you shouldn't do. Just don't be an asshole. Just don't steal. Don't kill people. Don't be a jerk. Do nice things. Help others people and enjoy your life. Try to be happy. And that's what movies are doing. Like every single movie has this tiny message that builds up the whole jigsaw puzzle thing in your brain. And then you have like this treatment of your personal life, and you decide how to live in the future. And
don't be Dr. Octopus.
Yes, it's that obvious, right? Maybe it's a kind of ridiculous idea, but I think when the movies stepped in and the camera was invented like 100 years ago, the amount of wars and killing start going a little bit less and less and less,
Oh.
and the amount of movies were going up and up and up. And when the television stepped in, the TV shows and more like visual storytelling started coming in, maybe people start realizing that it's time to stop killing each other. Maybe it's time to stop being rude to each other, doing bad things.
No, they're just distracted.
Yeah, maybe.
We're entertained.
I'm just assuming. Yeah, I'm just assuming that that's also the part of the influence of the cinema on the people's mentality nowadays.
Yeah.
A bit of a tangent then. What's your thoughts on like something like TikTok or YouTube? So is film is making a movie seems so much more different than especially TikTok. And then in the middle would be like YouTube. But what's your thoughts and opinions? Is that when Emmett said earlier, our attention span is when you said about there's less wars, Emmett said that, well, people are watching more movies, their attention span. So attention spans and maybe your perspective on YouTube and TikTok as opposed to directing a movie.
Personally, of course, I think TikTok is ridiculous, man.
Straight from Boris.
This is going on TikTok.
I cannot handle it, man. Personally, I get just it's too much of things. But objectively, this is the thing that should happen because it does the purpose. It basically distracts people from the terrible times that they are probably going through right now. Even if it's stupid, if it's ridiculous, it keeps the person entertained for a while. Yes, it doesn't put any effort into developing the person, maybe even like de-developing the person. But I'm pretty sure that every single person that enjoys watching TikToks on daily basis, one day he or she will realize that they need something deeper. They need something more meaningful. They need to find some answers in their lives. And of course, you cannot find these answers on TikTok. You can find those answers in the cinema. You can find those answers in music and the books. And
podcast.
That's where. Our podcast. That's the number one place to go if you're seeking for the answers.
We have all the answers.
Yeah.
Just keep watching.
So yeah, you see that like TikTok can get like millions of likes and millions of views, but it will be forgotten the next day for sure. Like they won't be remembered. But the movie, which is made by passionate artists and viewed by like 5 or 10 people totally, it will be remembered forever. So this is also the time span of this content that you're viewing. TikTok is just a one-timer, man. It will die really quick. But the film,
I'm just going to throw out a stupid idea. Just what if you created your Saigon 3000 movie, but you did it in a bunch of TikToks? So you tell a whole story, but you have to do it in 1 minute segments. And through the course of that'd probably be the course of like 9 months, people could follow your channel.
You can't. They'll forget part 3 by the time they get to part 17.
But you could click on his profile and you're able to see all the history videos.
Yeah. That's an interesting approach. I was actually thinking about that.
It's the future.
Like bringing this like you don't feed the whole chicken to the baby in one run, right? You should chop it into small pieces.
Yeah.
And feed it. That could work, man. That could work. But personally, I don't feel that this will be the tool to expose the whole meaning and the whole idea of what I meant.
I agree with you. I mean, that's the reason why I'm doing a 3-hour podcast, I think.
But that could be a thing. Yeah, the TikTok storytelling, that absolutely could be a thing. I'm pretty sure that there's a possibility of that to happen somewhere, sometime, by someone.
If you want to bastardize the art, the magic.
Yeah, I think the reason for a 3-hour podcast for me is kind of that. I think there's more in depth that you could talk about in 3 hours. I've had some guests that they go through 20-minute podcasts on other platforms, and they come to mine. Yeah, they come to mind and like they say, "Wow, this podcast, you could actually tell your story, get your point across, and go in depth about it." And especially in my opinion, some of the things I ask some guests is like their profession, say if it's a psychologist, I want to know what are some deep knowledge nuggets that they have about working in that field for 10, 20 years that somebody outside would have no idea. So things like that, I think it takes 3 hours to get some of those things out.
Oh, so, yeah, absolutely right.
And I could see that in movies too. I mean, you got 1 to 2 hours in a movie to get some.
Wait, you're saying we can't watch Lord of the Rings as a series of TikTok clips?
And my phone battery will die, man.
What if we cut out all the parts where Frodo and Sam are crying? We'll just cut out the crying parts.
Yeah, well, but that's crazy.
Wouldn't a fan of the novels say, "Oh man, there's no way you can capture the entirety of the novels in this little movie"? Isn't that a common criticism of novels that are turned into movies?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think there is like some certain reason for making that statement, and I cannot disagree with that. Now the format of visual storytelling is changing. Like, 30 years ago or 40 years ago, was only one way to watch a movie. It's just buy a ticket and go to the cinema. Now it is much more easier to turn on Netflix and watch a movie at home, sitting on your couch. And most of the people who are really far from cinema, from knowing the directors or movies, they're really far from it. They just want to hear a good story at home. And it's total.
Yeah. Oh, we got
our internet might have.
Hey, what's the website for your movie?
Boris, the sequel, part 2.
What's the website for your movie?
Saigon 3000 Wix Wix.
Oh, I was just kidding. Okay.
But yeah, if you Saigon 3000.
The number 3000?
Yeah.
.wix. Okay.
Come.
Back, come.
Bami ba.
Okay.
Sweet.
So we were talking about.
Sorry if it helps the audience. We had a big disconnect we had a Zoom problem, so we disconnected for a little bit. And we're rolling back in with Boris here.
Hey guys.
So we were talking about I think we started going into your world travel or your travels in Europe. I think we kind of ended on your 1 year in the Russian army, and then you had 3 or 4 years of time off. You went to U.S. and Idaho and had some really good potatoes.
Potato time, yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this random question about Russia. How do you think, because Americans have their own distorted view of Russians, how do you think the average Russian sees Americans? What would you describe? If you just, you went to Moscow and you picked a random Russian guy off the street, what do you think his view of Americans is? What is that a fair question?
Yeah, it's a fair question. The propaganda machine in Russia was working pretty damn good for the whole time for the past 100 years. Yeah. And what they say on TV, they always blaming Americans for all the Russian troubles and stuff like that. And people, most of the people, especially of the old age, they're keen to believe it. So they have this picture of American is the evil of all evils, the root of all evil. That's not actually really good. But if they meet an American guy personally, it's going to be like, wow, it's like an alien from a better world.
Gotcha.
So I guess there is no personal hatred, but there is like this massive social hatred of America as like the thing to blame all the problems of. That's what they say on TV.
Yeah, and so there's no other information source to counter that at all.
Well, internet stepped in that 10 years ago, and like the propaganda machine is harder to fight with that, and more people are getting acknowledged that Americans are not that bad as they portray on TV. And they don't really care about Russians. When I visited States, they don't care about what's going on in Russia. But in Russia, they're really focused on what's going on in America. Trump, Biden. Oh, they have the governmental debt in there. Did you hear those bad news from America? They saw and stuff like that. Yeah. So that kind of, I really hope that will disappear. This kind of attitude. Yeah, and it is disappearing slowly, since more people from Russia visited States and they saw how things really are. More Russians get to know Americans, and man, I just wish it was peace in the whole world. Yeah, and, everybody loved each other.
Is internet access pretty open in Russia, or is it restricted?
It was open, but recently, with the wave of protests and when people start realizing who Putin is and his dirty deeds start floating up. So, the internet is probably the only and the strongest weapon against Putin and his regime in Russia right now.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a difficult situation for Russia.
Kind of. I can understand why Putin is respected worldwide. Vietnamese people are crazy about Putin. Chinese people are crazy about Putin. Oh, he's such a good leader and stuff like that. It's still a mystery for me, but Russia didn't start any wars. There's some ruffle in Ukraine, but on an international global level, Russia is really supportive to the other countries. Vietnam, China, Serbia, Cuba, Bolivia, and stuff like that. Everywhere I went personally on my trip, I was treated well because I'm Russian and because that country was helped by Russians somehow. You see, this is kind of a weird situation when Russia helps the whole world, but it doesn't help itself. People in Russia, they have a really low level of life, and that's number one reason why I just left Russia and I don't live there anymore.
We have a stereotype that Russia is full of excellent mathematicians. Is that correct? Is there a strong?
Yes.
Okay.
There is a lot of extremely talented scientists and artists, filmmakers, musicians.
Yeah.
But somehow, if they choose to stay in Russia, they don't find their way to develop or to be completely free in their art. There will be a certain point, they will reach the ceiling where they cannot grow anymore. And it's their choice. If they stay in Russia, they're going to stay on this level forever, and the system won't let them grow bigger, or they will let them grow bigger if it's a moneymaker. But what is money for real artists, So it's history, man. It's not happening just right now. It was happening through years. The best minds, the best Russian minds were leaving Russia to another country, America mostly, to make their ideas come to real life, to realize that. Yeah, but unfortunately, if you are trying to make it in Russia, you will face the same destiny as the other artists or scientists or mathematicians, you'll be limited. You'll be limited. Your ideas will be most probably privatized, stolen, and it's not good. It's not cool at all.
Yeah.
A question for Emmett, and then I'd like Boris for you to reflect on it afterwards. So you said earlier that the distorted Americans' view of Russians. How would you describe that in words? And then Boris respond is it accurate? Or what do Russians think Americans think of Russians afterwards? And
I mean, what does America think of Russia? I mean,
in your definition.
Yeah, I guess it'd be rooted in the Cold War adversarial. There's the Soviet Union bad guys, right? They're always trying to do bad things.
Sneak in.
Yeah. So certainly in the American view, Putin is a strong dictator kind of character.
Yeah.
The Americans certainly feel like Russia one day just decided to invade the Ukraine and take over part of it. We don't understand the nuances of the cultural differences there and the cultural integration there. So we're gonna say, hey, who invades other countries these days and takes over? That's an old-fashioned bad guy thing.
Old-fashioned, yeah, man. That's an old-fashioned move.
Yeah, and certainly.
Yeah, go on.
I would say historically, from the American view, if you look back at any world conflict or kind of wars and disputes, you would say, look, when was Russia ever on the good guy side? They were always backing up the dictators and always backing up the bad governments in our view, right? So it's like, well, if you add up, show me the one time Russia did something good, and it's real hard for us to come up with that in our, in the histories that we see in the media that we see. So I'm sure there is a great side to Russia and the people that we don't know about.
Oh man, you got to do the research to find something good
Yeah.
about that.
And then probably the freshest wound for America is feeling like there's kind of a consensus that, Russia did do a lot of hacking and Facebook manipulation and bad news and just garbage news to do anything they could to fuck with the American people in their voting and in their attitudes and in their, voting for Americans is very emotional, but not very logical. So there's some consensus that, there were some Russian entities that poured gasoline on whatever fires they could find. It's probably the best way. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, what I felt personally, the attitude from Americans to Russians is not a fear, but concern. Americans are concerned about Russians.
Yeah.
When I was in Los Angeles as a Russian, I felt like the people are aware of me because I'm Russian. I'm a tough guy. Maybe I have some connections with mafia or KGB. On that kind of that actually worked for me pretty fine. I felt pretty secured.
Don't fuck with the Russian guy.
yeah, and that's instant shield for me from anything bad in the Western world. But I should say that's an adequate reaction and adequate behavior towards Russian, because for me, Russians on the global stage, they look like a fucking monkeys, fenced out of the world and screaming, don't invade us, showing their weapons and showing their toughness, but actually not being that in reality, those endless red movies about Soviets, like Cold War stuff. I can understand the reason for that, like scary Russians with their weapons and stuff like that. But it's just the image, man. It's just I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the wounds of the Second World War. There's I should admit there's terrible things. Hell was happening in there, and maybe the whole nation after that kind of events, they don't want to make it happen again, so they start being really aggressive to any kind of power. So maybe that what caused this kind of relation between America, and it's pretty natural. It's pretty explainable, and of course, I hope that will come to an end, man. The Russian people, they really deep inside, they're very soft and they're very nice. They're very emotional. They can be really deep. But what do they do to themselves? That dictatorship from some random guys that just want power. It just ruins the whole vibe. It was happening through all the whole history, man. There was a guy who was controlling this bunch of peasants, and the peasants are the good people, and there is just one guy who is the bad person. And the peasants, they cannot say no. They never say no. They just blindly following him.
Right.
It was with Stalin. It was with Nicholas II. It was with Putin right now. It's for 20 years. yeah, so that's a pity, and it's time to open the eyes for both the Americans and Russians, and shake the
Yeah.
hands and smoke
Yeah.
some weed together. You know,
You know what I think
that's
I wish most for Russia that that Russia doesn't see itself in relation to the US. Like you don't want to see yourself only as the adversary to somebody else. I wish Russia could see itself as a potential. Like why can't Russia be making great electronics or making great automobiles or doing great engineering or creating great software? You know, with that mathematical talent foundation, you can do all of those things that is valuable in the world internationally. Like Russia could be producing amazing things that other people want. And
they could, man.
yeah,
There's a really high potential of inventing something really cool, stepping into the future. There's a lot of genius masterminds, big brains from Russia. Well, some of them who managed to go to America, they find some ways to realize their ideas, engineering or scientific, and that's pretty cool. They don't get much credit. It's maybe a national side of Russians. They don't really take the credit or like get paid fairly. They just want their idea to be brought there and to be alive. But yeah, through the history, it could be done so much more, and that's a pity because it was wasted just because of one guy who was at the wheel of the country and just chasing his own personal needs, and that's definitely a pity. If the things will be better in the future and Russians will be more free, of course, I have no doubt that there's going to be more inventions. There is going to be more cultural pieces that they can bring, and Russians, they are more than able to do this. Helicopter was invented by Russians. AK-47. Yeah.
Was it Sikorsky? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice, man. You know the stuff.
That's right.
AK-47. The film montage, the basics of film montage was invented by Eisenstein and Alexander. Yeah, and some of his friends in the early 20th century, like 1912, something like that. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that were invented, could be invented, and I hope that there will be a way for Russians, especially younger Russians, to find their way to bring their ideas to life.
That's inspiring. Instead of your depressing question, Liem.
No, that's all good information.
Well, we bring positive answers to the negative questions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so Boris seems like a great guy. I would love to hang out with him. So
thanks. You're great guys also. Likewise.
Yeah. So it disabuses that notion and it tears down that stereotype of what we think a Russian guy is, right? You know, it's not some mafia bruiser. Clearly, he's a great guy. You want to have a meal with this guy, right? So, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, there's a certain level of toughness in Russian culture. You know, shooting AK, drinking vodka, and and
I thought that was Poland.
Well, Slavic roots.
Okay.
That all caused by the circumstances of life itself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
I guess if weed was legal in Russia, there wouldn't be no vodka at all.
No, I could chill out.
Yeah, chill out, man.
So I'm actually interested in your movie concept. It's a sci-fi set in Vietnam. Is it?
Yeah.
So I guess the question for me is, what's different or interesting about your movie, without giving it away? I guess what would make, say if I was a producer, if a producer happens to be watching, why am I going to produce your movie? What's so unique and different about your film, or what's the groundbreaking?
Yeah, the cool thing that you just mentioned, it's happening in Vietnam. I think it's enough to make the movie special just to relocating some sci-fi or futuristic genre from the States or from Japan, because most of the cyberpunk or sci-fi movies, they're happening in States, man. All the alien invasions, all the superhero movies, they're happening in States. Yes, they go sometimes to Europe to fight, they go sometimes there, but not a single big budget movie happening somewhere outside of US.
Yeah, why are all the aliens always blowing up New York City and Washington, D.C.?
Hey, aliens, here's also.
Can you go blow up France first, please? Go blow up Asia. Hey, Cambodia, you wanna fuck with Cambodia? Go down there.
Yeah, and I think that this is going to be a fresh look to relocating the setup, making like the same dish but at the different restaurant. It's going to be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like it.
And for now, the glimpse into the future is actual as never before. Like you can make a movie about the past. It's like based on the facts, what happened already. You can make a movie on the present, what's happening right now, focusing on the present problems. Or you can have a fantasy about the future, and that's what sci-fi basically is. It's just your version of the future, what's going to happen, and nobody can tell you you're wrong, because who could see the future? There's no facts about the future. You can build the whole thing, the whole world based on what's happening right now, reveal the problems that are happening right now in a futuristic step. And that's what making it really interesting. Vietnam is a really cool concept. It's a really cool location for doing that, the glimpse into the future, because it's a well-balanced position, or well-balanced life flow in here. That's what I feel like. America for sure is great, destroying the skyscrapers and showing the Los Angeles 2049. It's that's a cool thing. But we've seen it so many times, man. So many times. And
we need bigger and bigger explosions.
More explosions. Yeah, but you see, I live here in Vietnam. I experience it every day. I learn more about the culture and the people, and I feel like this should be brought to the masses globally. This lifestyle, the Vietnamese mentality, it deserves to be brought globally in a film form, you know.
Yeah. Well, so will they still be eating bonnet in the future?
You could have a future version of
flying saucer.
Bonnet.
That's awesome.
Bro, bonnet is immortal. It will never die.
It's permanent.
I guess in the future they will be only eating bonnet.
Yo, you just reminded me. It's probably been 20 years. I had a DVD like 20 years ago. I think it was Japanese. It was this sci-fi future movie. It was kind of a loose knockoff of The Matrix, but it was called The Returner. And I think it was one of those ones that was so bad, it was hilariously good. So I got to go find that
those
again.
kinds of movies,
Yeah, I got to go find The Returner again.
That was cool for entertainment purpose. Those kind of movies, like that bad, that is good. It's entertaining for sure. But
dude,
I'm chasing.
This 3-hour podcast was totally worth it to remind me of that movie.
I really hope that at least someone will find some sense in this discussion today. This 3 hours. What I'm chasing with this Saigon 3000 thing is to bring the message, bring some sense and meaning to the people, to make life better. If you show the future as the terrible world, as a dystopia, as a nasty, greedy, low life, high tech, cyberpunk Blade Runner vibe, that will make the audience be aware of some things, like what should you do to avoid this? Or you can show the utopia, like the perfect world that we can make if we take actions right now. The beautiful world with no problems, with no diseases, with no troubles at all, like basically paradise on Earth. And that's all in our hands.
That's Star Trek.
I think that they had in Star.
No, they had to
Star Trek. I think it's mixed.
No, the Earth was fine. They had to go to talk to aliens to find trouble. They're always flying around looking for problems, trying to help everybody. What's going on with these Klingons? What are they fucked up about?
Yeah, I wasn't watching Star Trek, but what I know, they did this perfect mix of both dystopian and utopian, and that's what I'm chasing right now, to show the bad side of the future and the good side of the future. What will happen if we won't take actions, and what will happen if we take actions.
Yeah, excellent. Wait, are you going to have any titties in there to bring forth the message?
Boobies, okay, Rob. More boobies. We
I
all
support
love
this
them.
movie. Yes.
Okay, so probably I should be starting with that. So
let's start with the titties.
I'm pitching this thing to the producer, and the first thing I'm saying is boobies. A
Yes.
lot of beautiful, young, fresh boobs. And they're like, okay, take my money.
It's important for the future.
yes. It's beautiful, man. It's the women's breast is the best creation of the nature.
Do you guys know the best sci-fi boobs in movie history?
The Arnold
the
3, yeah.
boobs.
Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger from Total Recall.
This changed the world.
Yes.
This was the moment.
Boobs, they're changing the world.
In Total Recall, was it the remake? Did they had that scene, right? The
Yeah, I
two
think they
boobs?
made a reference to it. Yeah.
Oh,
dude,
I don't even remember.
you just need 4 boobs. The next level.
Ooh, that's the sequel to the 3 boobs.
Yeah, is
Three
that too
boobs,
far?
right?
Is that too crazy?
I don't know.
Well, 4 boobs. I assume 4 boobs is a threesome. You know, like you're having 2 girls. Yeah, that's a 4 boob. Combination.
Obviously, you did not get the Russian math genes over here.
Yeah, right.
All right, I'm gonna start us into the final questions, unless you guys have.
That ruined it. That was the end of the podcast.
If you guys want to continue, that's fine. But
Yeah.
okay.
2 on the front, 2 on the
Well,
back.
yeah, that's cool of having like no boundaries in your art, like having blood, swear words, boobs, and some like sex content. That's cool having, if it like serves as a tool of storytelling. Only in that case. If it's just a seamless showing of boobs, it's
No, but you were saying Stanley
Makes no
Kubrick
sense.
used it to a great effect, right?
yeah. So in that case, of course.
Just gotta do it like that.
Yeah. All right.
Put more sense in it.
So we got about 5 questions, I think. First question for you is: what great daily habits do you have?
But one more time.
What great daily habits do you have? It could just be one.
Daily
art. Yeah, just a daily habit. That's great.
Don't go outside. Stay at home.
Yeah.
Vaccination. Oh wait, that's not daily.
I used to start my day with smoking a cigarette since like 3 years, but this lockdown brought some blessing to me, and I stopped doing this.
Because it's hard to get cigarettes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and actually it's good to have a break a little bit, have some clearance in my mind, as well as quitting pot for some time. I feel myself more clarified. Yeah, these days. Oh well, when my dealer will call me and he is available to deliver, of course I will call him.
But currently you're not in the purple haze.
No. And it feels great. It feels awesome. I'm gonna jump back in the haze, that's for sure. But for now, it's good to have a break.
Nice.
It has a like positive impact on me right now. Some daily habits. Well, in this lockdown, I used to just spend an hour writing something down. Anything. Just take a notebook, a piece of paper, and just write something down. Don't waste your time. As an artist, you have to project your thoughts on something material, like in this case, a piece of paper. So even if it's like some stupid idea about this script or some kind of weird scene, I'm trying to write it down, and maybe later on I can combine this into something more consistent and cool. So yeah, just an hour of listening to music, sitting at exactly the same spot I'm sitting right now, and writing something down is a good thing. It's a good practice on a daily basis.
I like that one. Yeah.
Awesome. Next question. What do you know or think of cryptocurrency?
It's really complicated. It's not really accessible to all the people, but I think it's a really cool form of money and finance for the future. It's a game changer, and I hope it will transform into something that any person can access in the future. For now, the money system is fucking terrible, man. It like the money don't work at all, and don't work for everybody. So I hope the cryptocurrency will take steps into covering the whole population and make money available for all the people, not just some of them.
And get rid of pennies.
Yeah.
Carry fucking pennies around anymore.
Well, yeah, dude. This cashless way of life is actually really cool. I experienced it in China in 2016, 19. I didn't use cash at all. They have this WeChat app, and you just have some kind of balance on this app. And all the shops, they equipped with the QR code scanner, and you just show the phone, the QR code, boom.
Yeah.
They take the money, and so for 3 years I forgot what cash is, basically. Wow. And that was really convenient. I should give the credit to the Chinese guys. That was really convenient, man. You don't have to hold it in your pockets. And every single place was equipped with this scanner. Taxi, restaurant, cinema, wherever you go, even the massage parlor, they were equipped with the QR code. And some homeless people, some homeless people, they have this QR codes. They have some money, and this is so convenient, man. Like, really, really convenient. And I hope in the future cryptocurrency will have the same format as the Chinese people do right now.
Will there be cryptocurrency in Saigon 3000?
I was just going to ask that.
Oh no, it's going to be old ass money, but that's going to be the old garbage by the time you get to 3000. It's going to be old and busted.
In the world of 3000, there's no money as we know it right now, but the credits are the information. So basically, the information is the value. You're paying for things with information, with megabytes and gigabytes, not with dollars and cents. So, there's also like a value of info. The 1 megabyte of some top secret governmental stuff is much more valuable than 5 gigabytes of I don't know, chicken soup recipe. Yeah, or this podcast. I know.
No, I know that you shouldn't feed a whole chicken to a baby. That's what I learned.
Nice. But yeah, it was just my fantasy. What could be if the cryptocurrency will be merged with information? If we can straightforward pay with the info. With
you're paying with WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
How much secret info can you steal?
I see.
Yeah. And
so a question for you with what's cryptocurrency like in Vietnam right now? So I think, did I send you an article like a week or two ago where I had a global map, and then they labeled Vietnam as the top country for like cryptocurrency adoption, and I was scratching my head on that. So.
I would never admit to that on the air. I cannot confirm nor deny. I'm just kidding. No, I didn't
see that. It's developing pretty quickly, and there's a lot of enthusiasts in cryptocurrency here right now. So Vietnam is good. Saigon is good. I'm not sure about Hanoi, but Saigon is full of that stuff.
About, was it 2017? I think so. Binance is the probably world's largest global cryptocurrency exchange. And I was applying for a job with them to work with blockchain or cryptocurrency, and they're going to station me in Vietnam if I got the job. There was a big scam that happened. It was I want to say $400 million. Somebody created a scam cryptocurrency, and they put a shop in I think it was Saigon, and then so they got a bunch of people to invest in this shop. Their team got up and left. And then the government shortly thereafter basically said, we're banning cryptocurrency. No one could use cryptocurrency.
That's terrible. They could have made so many good movies with that money.
Yeah, man. You're just reading my mind, man. It's really terrible. And
That's like
what
800
I've
good
noticed-
movies.
when I start counting. Yeah, unfortunately, this is a common thing in Vietnam, like this way of scamming, like making a deal, taking the money, and like disappearing. And it covers not only cryptocurrency, it covers also film industry in here. Some of the morons and assholes, they just pitch their idea to the producers, they get investments, and they run away with the money. The same thing with weed is happening right now. Some fake accounts, they get the order for the weed and they just take the money and never deliver the weed. The same as with the other spheres of services in Vietnam is pretty common. Like there is a lot of people doing that and they get away with not being punished. They get away without not being caught, and that should be stopped, man. That's terrible. That's really not good.
Yeah. At that time, 2016, 2017, Vietnamese government cracked down and said no use of cryptocurrency whatsoever. I think they didn't allow mining. They didn't allow any company to accept cryptocurrency. So since then I haven't been keeping track. And then looking at that map that I saw a week ago, that article, they're saying Vietnam was the highest adoption rate. And I just thought it was a weird thing. Cause when I was there in Vietnam back in 2018, I didn't see that much cryptocurrency really. So I was just, it baffled me with that map.
Stuff moves fast, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so now it's completely different level from 2018, I assume.
Okay. All right.
We're living in the future.
Yes.
The future is now.
All right. The next question is, what's the biggest problem for humans and what should we do to fix it?
Oh, that's a good question. The biggest problem is negativity, man. It's all in our heads. It's just not being nice to each other. It's killing, it's stealing, it's lying, it's all this negative stuff. And that's the number one problem. And this problem is here, man, in everybody's brain. Once we're supportive, really nice to ourselves and to our neighbors, to all of the people around, once we are friends with each other, I'm 100% sure there's not going to be any kind of problems that we won't be solving. There's going to be no suffering. There's going to be no poverty or hunger or stuff like that. Once we are really friendly and nice to each other. Take a look at this as an organism. Imagine our planet is just a body, an organism, and all the people are the blood cells. Can you imagine blood cells killing each other, like stealing things from each other? No. Blood cells are running through our body and they're cooperating. That's what makes our body alive. And I hope that will happen to the whole humanity. Just being nice, switching the mindset. Stop
Dude,
doing
if somebody gets caught of an angry or a violent crime, they should have as part of your punishment, you have to smoke some weed.
Yes.
Yes, like mandatory.
Yeah.
Open your mouth and just make a puff, man.
And our greedy politicians.
Yeah.
They get caught with being greedy.
Or is that too much like Clockwork Orange?
But that's all the punishment for good, man.
Yeah.
I mean, weed, it helps you to become like a more chill and nice person. It like puts a little step into it. It doesn't fix the whole problem of you being an asshole or evil person, but it definitely helps. And it's never about drugs. It's never about what happens to you. It's all about you. It's all about your choice, your personal choice of doing shit to other people and to yourself, or not doing this shit. It's your personal choice. So if you want to live in a better world, if you want to avoid all the problems and improve humanity, it's this choice that you personally make.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, go smoke some weed.
Go puff it, man.
Next question. What's your favorite food or dish?
We already know.
Well, we'll see.
My favorite food, I think it's dumplings. Like globally, and there's different forms of dumplings worldwide in different countries. And I think that's my favorite form of food. Is just dough and piece of meat inside, and it's really simple and it's really fucking tasty, man.
Like xiaolong bao?
I was just gonna say xiaolong bao.
Baozi, xiaolong bao, and baozi in China, jiaozi in China. Yeah. And there's a lot of different forms of the same dish, and all of them are just amazing. Yeah, there are big ones, there are small ones, there are like thick ones, there are thin ones. There's like big dumplings that have some soup inside. There are some big dumplings with a really sweet dough, or like there's some spice. There's so many different ways of cooking dumplings worldwide, and that's the beauty of it, and I really like it.
Do you want to ask, or Emmett wanted to ask, what's your favorite Russian dish?
Dumplings.
Yeah, Russian dumplings are, oh man.
What's in a Russian dumpling?
Two things are really good about Russia is food and women. And man, that's when a beautiful woman cooks a good dish for you, it's like hell of a combination. So Russian food is amazing, and I really miss it, like being a set. And dumplings are really good with a combination of sour cream and some herbs, regular normal herbs on it. Yeah, it's such a great combination. Borscht, I think that's like a most famous Russian soup. It's like the purple beetroot with potato and carrot and some meat inside. But it's when it's made well, it's really, really freaking tasty.
Wow.
There is piroshki. It's cakes. No. It's hard to explain. It's like the baked dough with some insides. Basically, most of the time it's meat, but it can be egg, it can be potato. But it's really nice. This little cute baked dough things that you can eat, and it's called piroshki, man. And
nice.
Everybody's grandma knows how to cook piroshki. Awesome. Babushka calls piroshki. It's like
I'm surprised there's no Russian restaurants in Vegas. I don't know of any.
Yeah, I don't know of any.
Yeah.
Well, check it out, man. Check it out. Russian food is dope. It's awesome. Pancakes, Russian pancakes. It's not as thick as the American version, and you don't eat it with syrup, or you just roll anything inside of it. The jam, the strawberry jam, or honey, or even you can put some meat in it, and you roll it and you eat it, and it's delicious, man. Even like the best time to eat it when it's fresh out of the pan. That's why it's called pancake.
Way better than army food.
Oh man, you're talking.
Was it rice, water, and old bread? Is that what it was? Okay, on to happier topics.
Last question. Think of at least two friends that should do this conversation. Call them out.
Josh.
Oh, like the friends of mine.
Yeah. Unless Josh is still in Chinese jail.
No. We were released almost at the same time. Josh is in Mexico right now, in Cancun, and he's trying to make it into the acting.
Oh.
So So I'm helping him to make some steps into this field. But he's crazy. He's really insane. So and really goofy. So I don't think you want him to have a podcast. My friend Nick. Oh, you used to hear. My friend Nick from Russia. He's my all-time best #1 friend. We are keeping in touch since school till now. We are always communicating, like naturally. So he's my number one natural friend through all these years.
Yeah.
He was there for me. He was always responsive. We were always sharing this stuff since we were like 13 and 14. Yeah, and it all started with a fight. So that's how we met each other. We would fight each other, and since then we became the best friends ever. And he was the guy who gave me the Clockwork Orange, and he was the guy who had the internet access back then. Yeah,
so the subversive influence.
Yeah, he was the guy who opened the door to cinema for me.
Nice,
awesome. All right. Do you want to plug yourself? Either give like a website if some. Yeah, actually, you probably want to plug just your movie, and then what if someone's interested in working with you, where could they find you?
Yeah, there's much more things besides my movie that the audience, the interested people that can discover about me. So Facebook. Facebook is my central station, and from Facebook you can find anything else related to me. Instagram, my website. Yeah.
I'll find Boris on Facebook.
All right, yeah. Spell out your Facebook ID then.
BORISMESHKOV. Boris Meshkov, the one and the only one.
I got you.
Yeah, if you type it in the search, I'll be the first guy and probably the only guy, maybe.
And the best looking guy. I almost accidentally put Boris Meshkov into What's on My Mind and posted it instead of searching.
Keep it, man. Keep it there. Keep it in your mind.
All right,
fantastic.
All right, man. I guess
that's me.
So we're gonna cheers to the end and then just kind of say thank yous or whatever, and then don't hang up, and then we'll do the intro afterwards.
Well, Boris, now that we're Facebook friends, I don't need to talk to you anymore. So this podcast is over.
Yeah. Well, I guess 3 hours was enough of talking.
Thanks for finding time for us, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers to you, man. Thank you for